Welcome. This session we're going to look at building our upper body strength. So it's something that's often frequently asked by you guys, if we can have something that specifically targets this area of our body. So with that in mind, we're going to start in a comfortable seat. Now you don't have to come to Virasana, hero pose that I'm in. You can simply sit back on your heels. You might want to sit on a block, or you may want to come to cross-legged. So just find that place where you want to start your session and give your sit bones a little jiggle. Let's see if we can find them on the mat or on the block. Closing down the eyes, start that process of rooting down, feeling that connection to the earth, and slowly starting to lift up from our roots. So as we're lifting up, we're feeling that length through the spine, gently just elongating, finding a little bit of space between each vertebrae. Letting that chin drop ever so slightly so that we can continue to feel that lift through the back of the neck and up through the crown of the head. So stay with that lovely long spine that we've been working with. We're going to turn the palms to face up, and we're going to reach them out to the sides with your palms facing up. You can keep your eyes closed for this part if you'd like. So your arms want to be roughly shoulder height, and as you're reaching your palms up, you'll start to feel the weight of your upper limbs. So let's notice what's happening with our shoulders. Are they starting to creep up by the ears? Can we really start to drop them? And thinking about hugging those shoulder blades into the back body. So as we do that, we're going to bring the arms around the front and the palms together. So pressing your palms together. Keep your focus on your shoulder blades. So now they're wrapping around the side body a little, but they're still hugging in. Now start to take those palms up and overhead, but keep your shoulders down. So that might mean bringing a bend to the elbows, and that's absolutely fine. We're really playing with our rotator cuffs here, seeing how the rotation of our shoulders feels. Keep pressing the palms together. Good, stay where you are. And then we're going to turn the palms away as we press them down this time. So the arms are reaching down, all the way down. Good. So fingertips on the mat. Inhale those arms up and overhead, keeping the shoulders down. And this time we're going to rotate, taking one arm in front and one arm behind, gently lifting that crown of the head and moving the back shoulder just back a little more so we can feel that rotation through the core of our body. Inhale, let's reach both arms open overhead. Keep those shoulders away from the ears. So if you need to bend, that's fine. Exhale, turn to the other side now. Lifting through the crown of the head, still feeling that rooting down in your tailbone, in your sit bones. Good. Inhale once more back to center, palms together. And then exhale, bring them down. And let's make our way into all fours. So finding your center, finding a place that you can root down through your lower legs and through your hands. We're going to gently take the body forwards just so we get a stretch on our wrists, and then gently take the body backwards. Now start to make that movement circular. So you're going to take the body left and right, backwards and forwards. And you can make this as big or as small as you like. You could come all the way back into your child's pose and all the way forwards, just depending on how your wrists are feeling. And then rotate in the other direction. So let's move around a couple of times in whatever direction you weren't going in. So just to make sure we're really getting a nice, good stretch, particularly in those wrists, all important for our upper body strength. Now send your sit bones back to your heels, start to reach the arms forwards, pressing into the fingertips. We're going to lift the palms, lift the wrists, lift the elbows and lift the armpits. So an active child's pose. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, just keep lifting those chests, keep lifting those arms. Keep sending those hips back. And then release the hands down, and slowly we're going to make our way into Sphinx pose. So allowing the hips to come down onto the mat. Pressing the body down. So we can feel that connection with the lower body. We're spreading our hands, and we're spreading the weight evenly through both forearms. Look down towards the fingertips and keep pressing that weight into the forearms. We're going to tuck the toes under. Keep looking down so you can feel that elongation in the spine, and lift your hips. So now that weight is shifting ever so slightly onto the knees and the toes, keeping those toes tucked. We're now going to lift one knee and the other knee so that we're in a forearm plank. So there's very little disturbance in my spine when we're doing that. Lower alternate knees and just lift and lower with as minimal movement as possible. So we're seeing if we can really isolate that movement. Just a few times. Your core is working really hard here, but we're still pressing through the forearms so the shoulders are staying nice and broad. Very little tension coming through the neck. Good. Next time you bring your knees down, untuck those toes, allow the hips to come back down. So we're coming back to our Sphinx pose. Start to lift the chest, lift the gaze, press into the hands and elongate those, extend your arms as much as feels good. So whether you want to extend them fully or just a little way, that's absolutely fine. Whatever feels good for your back. And then exhale, let's lower the elbows. Lift the hips one more time. Start to walk yourself back so you're on your hands. Tuck your toes, and this time we're going to go to a full plank. So lifting the knees, exactly the same thing we did before on our forearms, but we're going to do it in a plank pose. So as we're alternating our knees up and down, very little movement through the spine. This is all happening just at the knees. Even the hips aren't moving. We don't want them to sway from side to side. We're just noticing the weight move into those shoulders, the wrists. Good. Lower down onto all fours and just take a break here by releasing those arms forwards. So sitting back in your child's pose. You can take a full child's pose or we can have extended, whatever feels right for you. Pressing into the hands, let's roll the body forwards. This time we're going to tuck both toes, come into your full plank. Hold here. Keep pressing into the hands. Now you might want to walk your hands ever so slightly closer. So let's make them just about to maybe a tiny bit closer than shoulder width. And we're going to start to lift opposite hand. So opposite hand to shoulder, seeing if we can make as little movement in that shoulder and pelvis as possible. So there will be a little bit of swaying, but let's see if we can really focus on targeting that movement just to keep the body nice and stable. Let's do a couple more. Well done. Now stay in your plank for a full breath and then come onto the tiptoes. Let's make our way to our down dog. So well done. Now, if your wrists are feeling a little bit tender just now, just give them a break. It might be that you want to take your hands a little bit wider. That can feel nice. Maybe just as wide as your yoga mat. That can really feel a little bit of a release if you do that. Just starting to sink through those shoulders, feeling a good release. Now, bend the knees, come onto the tiptoes, start to come all the way down onto your knees and just sit back on your heels while we do some stretches through the shoulders. So I'm going to do this forward so you can see. We're going to inhale both arms up and overhead just as we did before, bending the right arm so that the fingers are just coming to graze behind the neck, taking the left hand and gently pressing on top of that right elbow. So we've done this when we've done our cow face pose. This is a really nice way to get into cow faced arms. So just using the weight of that top hand to gently draw down the bottom hand. And if you feel comfortable enough, take that bottom arm, reaching it round the back, either holding onto fingertips if you can find them, or using a strap. This is a really great place to use a little bit of help. And what we're aiming to do is not to push the head. So the head and neck want to be nice and released. We're seeing if we can point those elbows directly up and directly down. So we're working into those shoulders, but we're not feeling the shoulder blades pinch together. So there's not the kind of tightness between them. So this will be very different for different people. You might be working here, and that's great because you're just working on that top hand. We don't need to add the bottom hand. So wherever we are, let's reach out both arms to the side. Feel that lovely space between the shoulder blades. Bring them forward so we can open them back out once more. Inhale, let's take them up overhead, and we'll do it on the other side. So we're bending the left elbow first, taking the right hand to gently, just using the weight of this right arm. I'm not pressing down into this right elbow. I'm just seeing if I can relax my right arm, and that will be plenty of weight to just ease the muscles through your triceps. Sometimes we hold quite a bit of tension around our shoulders, so just take your time, see how it feels, and stay here if that's feeling really good. If you do want to add the bottom arm, then just taking it behind the back, ensuring that we've got the neck nice and released so we're not pushing against the head. And we can find our Gomarasana cow-faced arms. Another breath here. Slowly, let's release both arms, palms facing forwards. And this time as we bring them forwards, we're going to interlace them, really tucking the chin into the chest, finding that separation of the shoulder blades. Inhale, turn the palms to face upwards and push them away from you. So this time the arms are going to come up and start to squeeze the ears. So keep pushing those fingers up, keep pushing them up, and release. Lovely. So let's take ourselves around now. Taking the hands down, tucking the toes, and make your way into your downward facing dog. So we're going to try a balance here, Bakasana. So it's a balance that we don't do terribly often, but it's nice and good fun to have a go at this occasionally. So in your downward facing dog, you're going to have your hands nicely spread. Look towards your fingertips, lift your heels, and start to walk your feet towards your hands. So you want to get them reasonably close and bring your toes together. So your big toes are really going to come together. Now, one of the keys with Bakasana is our rooting down. So spread your fingers, press into your hands. So you've got nice long arms. And as you bend your elbows, the elbows will be going backwards. So with your big toes together, take your knees apart, come right up onto your toes. We want our knees to be as high as possible as they make contact with the back of your upper arms. So I'm taking the body weight forwards, and I want you to take the eye gaze up beyond your mat. We don't need to lift any toes off the mat just here. We're just reaching that body forwards, seeing how that feels. Maybe coming back to your forward fold, maybe coming back to down dog before we move on to the next stage. So see how that feels. If you want to take it a little further, then bend the elbows again, take those knees nice and wide, look forwards, see if maybe we can lift one leg off the mat. Can we draw that heel in? So point the toes of the leg that you're raising. That's going to help you get a little bit of lift. Okay, so try it on the other side and do this really slow. Don't worry about getting the full lift. So we're just seeing how everything's feeling. Try lifting the other legs. And it might be that some issues are where our knees are slipping down, and I know that can be an issue. So if you do feel like your knees are slipping down, hug them in and squeeze your upper arms. So you want that good connection there. So let's just try it one more time. Maybe we can see if we can get both legs just a tiny bit off the mat. So hugging, squeezing in, looking far ahead, making sure we're happy that we've spread the fingers. Maybe we can lift both toes even just for a moment. Just have a little bit of fun with that and see how it feels. And then we're going to do a toe balance as a bit of a counter pose. So it's an interesting counter pose, but this should feel quite nice on your toes. Give a little bit of relief to the upper body. So let's see how soft we can be now in our upper body. The fingers are just gently touching. The shoulders are relaxed. Really drop those shoulders away from the ears. The elbows are soft. So your lower body's doing all that work. And the upper body is soft. Well done. Let's take our knees down to the mat. And we'll just do one more pose for the arms by swinging the legs around. Start with your feet pointed away from you. Swim your arms behind you with your fingertips close in towards your bottom, so just facing towards your bottom. We're going to do reverse plank. Draw the shoulders back and down, and you want your hands about shoulder width apart. Look to your toes and think about sending the chest up, so even without lifting the hips off the mat. As we plant our feet, the feet are going to be planted on the floor in a moment. We're going to just draw that chest up as if we were arching our spine, and then we're going to lift up. Good for your triceps, this one, really super. See if you can get your big toes on the mat even for a moment. Using your exhale to bring you down. Slide your bottom forwards. Hold onto your knees. Give them a hug, and we're just going to balance here. So as we do our cosmic egg, we're going to find a balance as we wrap the arms around the knees. Feel that separation of the shoulder blades. We've got a nice broad back. Toes maybe can just come just off the mat. Let the chin drop. Good. And then we'll release the arms by coming around into your all fours once more. We're going to take, now you're going to keep, this is a little bit like thread the needle, but it's a bit different because we're going to keep the chest, the shoulders facing towards the mat. So reach your right arm up and overhead. As you thread that right arm, I want you to still look forwards. So you're going to reach the left arm forwards, taking that right arm down, but keep the chest forward so it's not twisted. So this stretch is really good, targeting the outside parts of your arm and your shoulder, all those areas that we've worked really hard in the last 15-20 minutes or so. So you might not go as deep as your thread the needle, but that's fine. And slowly come out of this. Good. So just return to centre before we take the left arm up and overhead, threading that through, keeping the chest forward, so keep looking forwards, that will help with your direction. Take the right arm forwards and really accessing that left shoulder now. Use your breath to release any tension that you feel here. Slowly making your way back up to centre. Swing your legs around. And we're going to come to Supta Baddha Konasana for our rest now. So having the hands underneath the knees, slowly just allowing the spine to come down to your cobbler pose. And we will take the arms as well. So take the arms up and overhead, just bending at the elbows, allowing a nice open pose. So we've got the backs of the arms, the backs of the shoulders, the backs of the wrists, all resting on the mat. Close down your eyes and just feel that connection that you've been making with the mat. So this grounding that we're working with, so important for any upper body balances or strength exercises. And let your breath just be soft as you release any tension. Just taking a moment or two for yourself now. And just reminding yourself, if Bakasana is something that's not within your practice, then never to be hard on ourselves. Just have fun with it. Have fun with seeing how it feels. Not worrying about accessing the full pose. Nobody's ever going to get a better quality of life by getting a full Bakasana. It's more just the direction that we're working in. So just let everything be soft. Maybe bring a smile to your lips. And stay in your resting pose for as long as is feeling good. When you are ready, though, to start moving out into the rest of your day, you may want to come back to that cosmic egg where we're drawing the knees into the chest, drawing the chin up to meet the knees, giving them a hug, and either crossing the legs and bringing yourself to seated, or just making your way around into one side before you come to sit back in the center of your mat. Let's place one hand on our heart and one hand on our belly. Returning to that place where we were rooting in, down into the earth. Find the softness of your breath here. Find that lift through the spine. Bring your hands together and give yourself thanks here. Thanks for patience and thanks for dedication. But most of all, enjoy your practice. Have fun with it. Namaste.